Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to look at the global stories that have made it to the front pages of our national dailies this morning. And joining us to review the papers is Kehinde Nwandu, is Executive Editor at C.K.N News. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, okay. Welcome.
All right, so this morning we'll begin with The Guardian, and The Guardian leads with prison decongestion. It says 53,225 pretrial detainees languish in jail despite push to pardon politicians in court. And there's some data here. It says 80,066 persons in detention nationwide, only 34 or 26, only 34% rather, or 26,841 have been convicted and serving jail terms. 53,225 or 66% are pretrial detainees at 1,125 naira per inmate daily. Federal government spend about 21.8 billion naira to feed pretrial inmates in 2025, and 4,000 pretrial detainees have been pardoned to date. Awaiting trial in Port Harcourt is 1,810, Enugu is 2,290, Kuje is 768, Suleja is 190, and Lagos, which has the highest one, is 6,629. So, pretrial, a lot of people, in fact, first things first, there are a lot of people who are awaiting trial, and they're probably innocent. There are a lot of people that are in prison today, they're probably innocent. So, but let's talk about the pretrial, whereby we have about 53,225 detainees, and they're yet to even, maybe some of them get a date. And the ones that are serving their current jail term is just about 34% here. Meanwhile, the government is spending over 21 billion, of which, when you think about it, how much is 1,125 naira going to do as food for any inmate? I want to get your take on this story and all of the data that is presented here right now.
Yes, the greatest problem we have with our various correctional centers, known as prison, has always been that of over-congestion on the part of pretrials and also those awaiting trial. And that makes bulk of the number of prisoners in those prisons. And what we need to do is to be able to situate the problem where it's actually, where is the problem coming from? I believe that there are two food. One is the judiciary, and the second one, prosecution, and ability to bring most of this so-called like Nigerians anyway, awaiting trial or being prosecuted for one crime or the other to justice. So our judicial system is so slow and grows so slowly that it takes so much time. Before you could have a time in court to be able to bring somebody to trial, it takes a long time. And because you can't even blame it, because one, we don't have enough judicial officers. When I mean judicial officers, I mean judges. We don't have it. Then also the delay on the part of counsels, of both the prosecutors and also the defendants. So that in itself becomes a problem, which is why across the globe, and which is why people like us have always been advocating for what we call the ADR. ADR is called in law, it's called the Alternative Dispute Resolution, where it has been advocated that it's not every case that you take to the courts. There's some courts that can be taken to other, can be settled through other means, and some states are already doing very well in that. Especially, that is what is called the mediation center. That's what is called the mediation center set up by the Lagos State Ministry of Justice. What that mediation center does is that some of these cases that you take to court can be directly taken to those mediation centers, and within days that they can be settled. But criminal cases cannot be taken to mediation centers. They can only be settled by court. So, and it's because of these challenges that we come to have, you've seen the level of in prison. That is why you are having a lot of jailbreaks across the Nigerian prison. So the LA will be able to do something and be able to do.
But Chris, we're just concerned. Chris, we're just concerned. You are a lawyer yourself, and we were just wondering, even with the ADR you're talking about, do we have enough manpower And we're asking ourselves, why is it that we don't have enough manpower? Is it because enough judges, to be precise?
Fast track,
yes.
Yeah.
Is it because we don't have people who are qualified enough, or why is it so difficult to make more people judges? Apart from the fact that we don't have the infrastructure like courthouses and all that, but why is it that we are lacking in judges that could take up cases and expedite actions on some of these cases? What's the process like that is making it cumbersome?
It's a lack of the political will to be able to do that. By the Constitution of Nigeria, what you need to become a high court judge in Nigeria, a judge in the court in Nigeria, is just 10 years in practice. 10 years in practice. If you're able to scale that, then you have the capacity to be a high court judge. You don't need to go through training. There are some lawyers that have become judges straight from a private practice. I don't see any reason why we cannot be able to have as many judges as possible, so that we can be able to say, but having judges also means also expanding, providing enough courts also where they can practice. There's so much congestion that we don't even have enough courts across Nigeria. So we need to build more courts. They're not only building more courts. I also believe that if you go to most of the courts in Nigeria, close to almost 70% to 80%, we still don't be able to as a means of dispensing justices. You see judges and justices writing statements with handwritten. If you understand what I mean. As the person, yes, or whatever is has been interrogated. Judges in Nigeria now still have to write everything that they say with handwritten. Where in the world is that done? So if you are going to talk for 2 hours, 3 hours, that judge will write, will make sure that because every statement that is made must be written. So those are the part of the problem, and that in itself delay. So until we be able to bring in technology to some of these things that are supposed to be recorded speeches, judge doesn't need to start writing everything you say. If we have technology, the person is being cross-examined and doing cross-examination or by whatever means of trying to get a part from the suspects and the rest of them. It can be recorded immediately, and I'm sure within 30 minutes, 1 hour, you have taken whatever he needs to say. But the situation where we have doing handwritten, it's only Lagos that doing a bit more on that through provision of technologies. But if you go to all other courts across Nigeria, it is just a very, very terrible situation we find ourselves. So one is increasing the manpower. Second one is also making sure that we build more courts. Then the use of technology. If we're able to have this in place, then we can be sure that dispensation of justice will be as quickly and swiftly as possible. But if we continue to go through this trajectory, then also, as I said, minor cases that don't. How will somebody just say somebody was caught for pickpocketing or whatever? You have a quarrel between a landlord and a tenant. As you carry yourself. So why don't you go to the mediation centers? You quarrel with we have a quarrel with your wife, small quarrel. Instead of you going to mediation center, you have to take it to court. So those are the kind of problems that we're having within the Nigerian judiciary, and that is why we're having so much congestion within the prisons.
Interesting.
Okay. Tinubu considers committee for fresh census is another headline there on the Guardian newspaper. Census, since the census of, was it 2006 till date, we have not had a census. It has always been marred by banditry and so many other things. And then now we're talking about setting up a committee for the census. And we already have the NPC and all that. So I don't know. What's your take on it?
I don't know why we need committee for census. I thought there's a commission that we're supposed to have a commission for the census. Yeah. I thought we have the
National Population Commission.
National Population Commission. So what is their job? So what is committee again? You know, Nigerian government have a way of always trying to siphon money and find means of stealing money. That's what I call it. Because there's a commission that has the responsibility to do the job. Why don't you do the job? when you have an election, you set up committee for, is it not anything that conduct election? Do you still go ahead to set up a committee for election? So I don't know the essence of this, whatever committee, anyway, I've not read, so I don't know whatever. But what I'm saying in essence is that, I don't know, the issue of censor has always been a big challenge for Nigeria, right from 1960s, right from when we got independence. We never gotten it right. It is always politically motivated. People have not always come out with me because for their selfish reasons, especially politicians, because they look at the censor, because it is by the censor that you'll be able to know how to evenly distribute wealth within the to pad most of these numbers, and that in itself becomes a problem. When last do we have a censor? I think censor is supposed to be conducted every of that 10 years. I can't remember.
10 years, yes.
But I think it's 10 years. It should be every 10 years. You ask yourself when that will be conducted a censor. But back to this issue of this committee, I don't see the reason why whoever is setting up the committee and using for it. But we have a National Population Commission, which is, and they have staff. You ask yourself, these people are staff. For 10 years, they've not been able to conduct a census. And you ask yourself, all those staff that work with NPC, what is their job? Why are they being paid? Because the essence of setting up the commission is for them to conduct census and to continue to give us data to tell us how many Nigerians, and that is part of the problem we are having in those, because we don't even know how many we have. We can't even understand how many people, how many foreigners that we have in the country. Those are the basic issues that we are having. So the issue of committee, I don't know. As I said, I've not read the story. But if there's a report that the committee is being set up again for the censor, it doesn't make any sense for me, because there's a commission that is statutorily given the power by the constitution to be able to do their job. We should allow them to do their job, and the earlier we do this, the better for us.
All right, let's look at some political stories. On The Guardian, it says El-Rufai threatens to dump APC over lack of internal democracy, rules out PDP move. On the Nigerian Tribune is also here. It says APC has left me, El-Rufai. The writer here says Tinubu, not Senate, rejected his ministerial nomination, false implementation of president's economic policies, hints at a possibility of joining another political platform, rules out PDP. What's your take on what's going on with El-Rufai, APC, and the political climate in Nigeria?
I think we've gotten to this. I call this a season of convention, or whatever we call it. Just 3 days ago, former military president, IBB launched his book, and a whole lot of issues were raised. Now, El-Rufai is coming out with his own. But the first person I'll ask, ask yourself, if El-Rufai is in this cabinet, is a member of the cabinet, or is in current administration as a minister or whatever capacity, do you think he will come out to say all the things he was saying? Of course, it's no. So, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Politicians will only be politicians. If it's within the table and it's eating, we will not. They say you don't talk while you are eating. So if he has said true, his nomination as minister said true in 2022 when the ministers were there and his name was stepped down by the National Assembly, he would have been a minister. He cannot be saying all this. He will be praising the president to high heaven. But now, because he's out of relevance politically as it were, he's fighting everybody. Nuhu Ribadu is no longer my friend. Dr. Nosani and I have followed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is speaking only Lagos boys. The political party. Yeah, there's one or two things that he said that makes sense to me. I can reason with that. But for me, I think that it's just everybody is just trying to get himself ready for the next dispensation, which is 2027. I already started talking about 2027 when we're in 2025. So that shows where he's heading to. He's talking about political party. He says he's not going to go to PDP. Probably join another political party. He said that Ribadu is not in the ambition of becoming president in 2031 and rest of them. But for whatever reason, my sister, I don't take most of Nigerian politicians seriously. They are just selfish. Their own self-interest. If El-Rufai is within the cabinet, they will. We've seen so many of them in the past. What of Boala? What of Daniel Boala? Is there anything that Daniel Boala did about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and even APC when he was an aide to
Atiku,
spokesperson of Atiku Abubakar? Is it the same Daniel Boala that swallowed his government and is now trying to defend it? He's finding it very difficult. Can't even find himself. I still continue to ask what is Daniel Boala. Why did he put himself in such a terrible mess that he finds himself now?
All right, that's how
just remember he has a job. Sorry?
Well, that's how much we can take right now. We have to wrap it up here. But we want to say thank you so much for coming, Chris. It's always a pleasure having you.
Have a wonderful day,
Chris. Although the network has not been friendly.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day. Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day to you. All right, so we're speaking with Chris Kehinde Nwandu, is the executive editor of C.K.N News, and we'll just be taking the global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing our first hot topic, so please stay with us.